Alright, legends, welcome along to Here's Rodder's Reviews. We're getting on the Ghostbusters 2 in this episode. Now, in the last one, I think I made the mistake of saying it was a 4 year difference between the first and the second movie, but it's 5 years. And the Ghostbusters have fallen on hard times at the beginning of this movie. They're out of business. They've got a restraining order against them from the city of New York for the destruction that they caused at the end of the first movie. Save the planet, save the world from Gozer the Gozerian. But as with the way real life would work, yes, you've caused a hell of a lot of financial problems because of the destruction. You're out of business. The city's coming for you. You're doomed. So they're out of business. Peter, he is a TV talk show host on a supernatural sort of you know show where he's interviewing people that have gone through paranormal experiences. And there's a guy on there, he's releasing a book that predicts the end of the world on the stroke of midnight, New Year's Eve, this year. So Peter has given him a bit of stick for saying, well, it's not really good for book sales. Could you not say this, the world's going to end 5 or 6 years from now instead of, like, a couple of days from now or whatever it is. So the guy turns out he's right, 100% right. And there's another girl there on the show that he's interviewing. She's talking about an abduction that and when I was watching this movie as a kid, as I said, I was a small child when the first movie came out. Whenever Ghostbusters 2 came on the scene, I was about 9, 10 years old whenever it came out. And the irony of this woman's story was completely lost on me back then. So it was interesting watching this movie back again for that. Ray and Winston are entertainers at children's parties and that sort of thing. Ray also owns a shop. Ray's a cult. We see that same shop in Ghostbusters Afterlife. We're going to see it again in Frozen Empire. Egon is doing a science thing as usual. At the beginning of the movie, Dana Barrett, of course, gets in trouble again. Since the first movie, she's had a failed marriage, and as I was going to say, twins. She's got a kid, Oscar, who was played by twins in the movie. And I recently found out that one of those twins has passed away since then. Yeah, he unfortunately ended up taking his own life. So heartbreaking to hear that one of the twins that played Oscar in this movie dead because of that. In this film, the big bad is Vigo Carpathian, I want to say. Vigo the Carpathian. He's a 16th century European tyrant, powerful magician who resides in a painting in the Museum of Art, whatever it is, in New York City. Dana works there. She is touching up paintings and whatnot. She's got this boss called a Janos. Why can I not remember his name? He is a freaky little character in this movie. He's one of these guys that kind of weird you out altogether, but a great character at the same time. Yeah, by the end of the movie, you're gonna love his character by the end of it. There's a few moments in this movie where he shines in a great way. So he gets possessed by Vigo more. Well, I was going to say possessed. He's kind of like Vigo selects him to be his man on the ground, more or less. He wants to get on the new century. He needs to get hold of a kid that he can be born through into the modern day. So, of course, Janos has the hots for Dana, so they select Oscar as the vessel for Vigo. So they go after him. The Ghostbusters are brought in, of course, to investigate what's going on with horror. There's all these supernatural happenings going on around her at the beginning of the movie. The stroller that she has the kid in takes off down the street and so on. She goes to Egon and Ray for help, but tells him not to let Peter know about it. So, of course, he finds out the secret soon enough. Of course, they attempted a relationship after the events of Ghostbusters. Didn't work out. She married somebody else, had the kid to that man. So of course Peter is interested in getting involved again with Dana in this movie. So as we go forth in the movie, they're trying to work out where the slime is coming from. There's slime below the city, so they dig a hole in the middle of Fourth Avenue or Fourth. I can't remember the name of the road that was dug in, but they dig down into the ground and they come across the old Van Horn railway station, where the railway tracks would be. There's a river of slime. So of course they get busted for this here, get taken in front of the courts for, you know, going against a restraining order. And you were not allowed to practice being Ghostbusters, more or less. So they're in there, they've got a judge, he's ready to send them down, but they've got a vial of mood slime in there, and as the judge is going crazy, the angrier he gets, the slime starts to react. So we discover throughout the movie that it's mood slime. They end up calling it, positive. If you put a positive charge into it, good stuff will happen. If you put a negative charge into it, bad stuff's going to happen. So two ghosts pop out and sing in the middle of the court. The Scaleri brothers. Fantastic sequence. Of course, like in the first Ghostbusters movie, he got that one sequence where you see them actually trapping a ghost. You had Slimer in the first one. You have these two ghosts in the second one. Great. Lewis Tully is back in this here. He's there. Legal aid in the courtroom. Great comedy from him in this movie as well. And him and Janine have a bit of a romance before the end of this movie as well. So the Ghostbusters catch these two ghosts in the court. The judge can't deny anything. He has to withdraw the gag order on them, the restraining order. They go to town, catch the ghost, get back in business. By the end of the movie, of course, Vigo and Janos have their claws in the Dana when they kidnap Oscar. And, they're in the museum, and this slime that's below the streets comes up from the ground, covers the entire museum, an impenetrable shell, and the only way they're going to get through that is a blast of positive energy. So they take to the Statue of Liberty and fill the inside of it with mood slime, start playing Jackie Brown. I want to say that's whose song it was. Yeah, they discovered this song being a toaster dance earlier in the movie, so they're going to make the Statue of Liberty walk with the slime and this song at the end of the movie, and that's a fantastic sequence of the Statue of Liberty walking down the streets of New York. Great, great effects in this movie. Like the first one, the miniature sets that they use at any point in the films are fantastic. Particularly the first one of the Marshmallow Man walking down the street past Central Park. But anyway, they have the final showdown with Vigo in the museum at the end of the movie. That sequence where the Statue of Liberty busts through the ceiling, the glass roof, and the library. And the four Ghostbusters parasailed down from the crown of the Statue of Liberty. Is fantastic looking. Uh, Everybody's back. You know, you've got Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, Ernie Hudson as Winston, fantastic. Rick Moranis, Sigourney Weaver. All the main players are back in here. Great fun to be had in this movie. Now, it has to be said, a lot of people didn't really take the Ghostbusters 2. Let me just look up if there's anything here on the reception that the film got. Not so much. People saying, yeah, you just have the usual sort of, it was a gamble. Some liked it, some didn't like it. Columbia Pictures wanted the sequel. They struggled to overcome objections from the cast and the crew, so the cast wasn't even that interested in getting this going to the side of things. But they were talked into doing it and come back. So, you know, seeing that now here, like I'm literally looking stuff up here as I'm talking about it, you can see why it was such a task to get Bill Murray in particular interested in getting another Ghostbusters on the road after Ghostbusters 2. From what I'm seeing here, wasn't that interested in it. Most of them weren't, but yeah. So yeah, the second one was very much, in my mind, there's a lot of influence on it from the real Ghostbusters cartoon. You can see it in different parts of the film. The two bits that jump out in particular to me is Janine's look in this movie. She's got the bright hair, the bright glasses and whatnot, very similar to the cartoon Janine. Winston, at one point in the movie, falls into the river. Slime gets dragged away down the tunnel, and he screams exactly like the cartoon version of Winston screamed in the cartoon. So there's little bits to get there in the movie that show you the influence coming from the cartoon, which is fair play. The cartoon was huge whenever this movie was made, so they were definitely going to lean into it. What else we got? That's pretty much it. The soundtrack of the movie is fantastic. I have it somewhere. Not as good as the original, I do have to say. But yeah, let me see what this movie made. I seen it here somewhere. The film earned 215.4 million during its theatrical run. That is class, but the original Ghostbusters made 282.2 million. So, bit of a drop there, but a success nonetheless. Those figures there for the time are fantastic. I've got a soft spot for Ghostbusters 2. I would agree with everybody that it's not as good as the original, but it is what it is, you know. Good time was had. 1 hour thing. One of the best jump scares in cinema history for me is in Ghostbusters 2. And it's not even a huge jump scare. It's just we went to the cinema. I can remember it as plain as day. Going to see it with my father. I think one of my cousins was there as well. My older brother might have actually been there. But the one thing I'll never forget in the movie, when Vigo first appears to Janos, Janos is up on a step ladder in front of the painting and he's doing a little bit of restoration work to it. And he has the paintbrush in his hand and it's deadly quiet, not a sound. The camera pans in and he puts the paintbrush up to Vigo's eye in the painting, and just as he's about to touch it, this electric bolt of electricity shoots out of the eye of Vigo, and the boom, the sound of it, just absolute silence, and bam! We were sitting two rows from the back of the cinema. The place was packed. This was back in the day whenever people actually went to the cinemas. Not a free seat to be had in the cinema. It's very, very rare thing these days. The last few times I've gone on opening days to movies, nearly empty. Cinema is suffering, if not dying at this point. But anyway, I digress. That happens, dead quiet. The bolt of electricity comes out, whack. Every head in the cinema in front of us, in unison, went up about 6 inches and down again. Like, everybody jumped out of their seats. It was one of these moments where everybody started laughing hysterically at the embarrassment factor. We just got the crap scared out of us. So good fun, good memories, great time was had. Another, just like the original movie, this is one that if I come across it on TV, I'm never going to skip over it. I'm going to sit down, watch it again, and enjoy it like the biggest kid ever. Right, that's going to do it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll be back tomorrow, all been well, and we'll talk about Ghostbusters 2016.